Stop if you're considering the Orion SkyQuest XT8 classic Dobsonian telescope. You are in exactly the right place, and you shouldn't click that Buy Now button until you watch this. I'm going to reveal everything this classic telescope can and cannot do, the stunning views it promises, and the brutal reality of using it. But here's what surprised me. This beloved, celebrated scope might be one of the worst possible choices for a huge number of aspiring astronomers. However, its reputation is so powerful, so ingrained, that people buy it blindly. Therefore, we need to smash that reputation with a dose of truth. For the best price, if you still decide it's for you, click the link in the description. Now, let's reopen that curiosity loop. The XT8 is an 8-inch aperture Dobsonian reflector. That's a lot of light-gathering power for under $500. It promises breathtaking views of Jupiter's bands, Saturn's rings, the Orion Nebula, and galaxies millions of light-years away. The promise is immense: unlock the cosmos from your backyard. But is that promise actually delivered to you specifically? Therefore, we must dissect this. Is this a perfect beginner telescope? The internet screams yes. I'm here to scream no. Let's start with the biggest, most glaring issue that most reviews gloss over. It's not about optics. The optics, once collimated, are fantastic. It's about the physical reality. This thing is a beast. It weighs over 40 pounds total. The tube alone is over 20 pounds and it's over 4 feet long. You cannot simply carry this out the door in one trip. It's a two-piece assembly every single time. You lug the heavy base out, then you lug the giant tube out, then you carefully place the tube into the base. This is not a grab-and-go scope. For a beginner, the sheer hassle is a massive barrier. Every time you want to observe, you're doing a weightlifting routine first. Your motivation to go out on a chilly night plummets when you remember the logistics. Therefore, the promise of easy observation is a myth. But maybe you're strong, maybe you have a permanent setup in a backyard shed. Let's move to the next critical flaw: the finder scope. The included 25mm aperture Sirius finder is, frankly, a joke. It's like trying to spot a specific car in a city using a keyhole. The field of view is tiny, the image is dim, and aligning it with the main tube is a fiddly nightmare. For a beginner trying to navigate a sky they don't yet know, this is a disaster. You'll spend more time fighting the finder than enjoying the views. Therefore, your first experience will likely be frustration, not wonder. That's a rehook. Can a telescope that frustrates you from the first minute still be worth it? We'll see. Now, let's talk about collimation. Collimation is aligning the mirrors inside the tube. For a reflector telescope, it's essential for sharp images. The XT8 needs it, and it can drift. The process isn't rocket science, but for a total novice, it's intimidating. You need a collimation tool which isn't included. You're peering into the dark end of a tube, tweaking screws, hoping you don't make it worse. Many beginners never learn to do it properly, so their $500 telescope never performs at its best. It's like buying a high-performance car and never tuning the engine. But with practice, it becomes routine. Therefore, it's a skill barrier, not an impossibility. However, the combination of heavy logistics, a terrible finder, and collimation anxiety creates a triple filter that filters out many beginners before they ever see a good planet. That's the contrarian truth. The XT8 is a fantastic second telescope, not a great first. It's for someone who already knows they're committed, who has conquered a smaller scope, who understands the sky. For them, the aperture is a glorious upgrade. For a true beginner, it's a commitment trap. Let's do a deep dive into what you actually get. The XT8 Classic uses a parabolic primary mirror and a secondary mirror to gather light. The focal length is 1200, so it's a relatively fast f6 system. This gives good wide-field views along with planetary detail. The mount is the classic Dobsonian, a simple, stable wooden rocker box with smooth bearings for altitude and azimuth movement. It's brilliantly simple and effective. Pointing the scope is intuitive. Once you find your target, The included accessories are the weak link. You get two 1.25-inch eyepieces, a 25 Plursal and a 10 Plursal. These are basic starter eyepieces. The 25 is decent for wider views, but the 10 is often criticized for its narrow field and mediocre performance on planets. You'll quickly want to upgrade. You also get a dust cap, a collimation cap, a simple tool to start, and that frustrating Sirius finder. Therefore, the core optical tube and mount are excellent quality for the price, but the accessories feel like they were chosen to hit a budget, not to enhance the experience. This is like getting a gourmet burger on a paper plate with a plastic fork. The meal is great, but the presentation hinders enjoyment. Let's now simulate a first night. You've assembled it. You've roughly collimated it. You want to see Jupiter. You look up, you see a bright point of light. You try to use the finder scope. You see a black void with a few faint stars. You struggle to center Jupiter in it. You then look in the main scope. You see blur, the collimation is off. You spend 30 minutes trying to fix it, getting cold. You finally get a decent alignment. You find Jupiter. And yes, when it's right, the view is transformative. You see the two main equatorial bands, maybe the great red spot if it's facing you, and the 4 Galilean moons lined up like tiny diamonds. It's stunning. But the journey to that moment was 90% struggle, 10% reward. For a beginner, that ratio can be soul-crushing. Now a joke, trying to use that finder scope feels like being given a map drawn by a seagull. Everything is covered in fish and vague squiggles. Where's Saturn? Probably near the squiggle that looks like a lost crab. But let's talk about the good, because there is a lot of good. Once you've conquered the hurdles, the XT8 is a powerhouse. The 8-inch aperture pulls in light like a vacuum cleaner for photons. On a dark night, the Orion Nebula M42 is not a faint smudge. It's a glowing, intricate cloud with shape and texture. The Andromeda Galaxy M31 is a huge, bright oval. Globular clusters like M13 explode into a sprinkling of hundreds of stars. On planets with good collimation and a better eyepiece, Saturn's rings are sharply separated from the planet. The Cassini division can be seen, and Jupiter's detail is rich. The Moon is a breathtaking, crater-pocked landscape. Therefore, the optical performance is the reason for its fame. It delivers views that cheaper, smaller scopes cannot. But here's another twist. That performance depends heavily on your location. If you're in a suburban area with moderate light pollution, deep sky objects will be muted. Galaxies will be faint ghosts. The aperture helps, but it doesn't defeat city lights. If you're a city dweller dreaming of galaxies, this scope will disappoint you more often than it dazzles. It needs dark skies to truly sing. Therefore, your expectations must match your environment. Are you willing to travel to dark sites with this bulky scope? That's another logistical layer. Now, maintenance. The open tube design means dust can settle on the primary mirror over time. Cleaning it is a delicate, scary procedure for a novice. You can't just wipe it. The bearings may need occasional adjustment. It's not a sealed, maintenance-free appliance. It's an instrument. But learning to care for it is part of the hobby for many. Therefore, it demands a relationship, not just a transaction. Here's joke number 2. Collimating this telescope for the first time feels like performing open-heart surgery on a tomato. You're not sure what you're touching, you're terrified of making a mess, and you're not even sure a tomato has a heart. Let's pivot to alternatives. If the XT8 is a bad first scope for many, what should you consider? For a true beginner, a smaller, lighter Dobsonian like the 6-inch version might be better. It's less bulky, easier to manage, and still has great optics. Or, consider a good tabletop Dobsonian like the AWB-1 Sky. Even a high-quality refractor on a simple mount, while giving less aperture, offers zero collimation and often a better finder experience. The key is ease of use to build confidence and passion first. You can always upgrade to an 8-inch later. Therefore, the XT8 might be your second scope, not your first. That's the core resolution. But what if you're already past the beginner stage? What if you've had a small scope for a year and you're hungry for more light? Then the XT8 Classic is a stellar choice. For you, the weight is a known burden. You'll likely upgrade the finder immediately. A Telrad or a better right-angle finder is almost mandatory. You already own collimation tools, and you know how to navigate the sky. For you, it's a gateway to deeper skies. Its value proposition shifts dramatically. Therefore, context is everything. It's not a universally bad product. It's a contextually bad first product for many people. That's the nuance most reviews miss. Let's address upgrades. To make the XT8 enjoyable, plan to spend extra. First, kill that finder. Get a Telrad Zero Power Finder. It projects red circles on the sky. It's a game changer. Second, get better eyepieces. A good 6 or 8 for planets, and a wide-field 2-inch eyepiece for deep sky can transform the views. Third, get a proper collimation tool like a Cheshire. These investments can add $200, $300 to your cost, but they turn the scope from a frustrating kit into a refined instrument. Therefore, the true cost of a good XT8 experience is higher than the sticker price. Now joke 3. The stock eyepieces are so basic, they make Jupiter look like it's wearing a blurry potato sack instead of its elegant striped robes. You need to give the planet its dignity back with a better lens. Finally, the resolution. Should you buy the Orion SkyQuest XT8 Classic? My verdict is conditional. Are you a complete novice, unsure of your commitment, living in a bright city with limited strength or space? Then stop. You shouldn't buy it. It will likely discourage you. The hobby has a high attrition rate, and this scope contributes to it. Choose something simpler, lighter, and more user-friendly to start your journey. Are you an experienced beginner, already comfortable with the night sky, eager for more power, and ready to handle the bulk and the upgrades? Then GO. It's an excellent value for the optical quality you receive. You'll know the hurdles and you'll conquer them. The views will reward your effort. Therefore, the final message is about informed choice, not blanket praise or condemnation. The XT8 is a legendary scope for the right person at the right time. For the wrong person, it's a legendary mistake. To close the loop, the curiosity was about why such a praised product could be a bad buy. The answer is human factors, not optical ones. The telescope itself is a capable machine. The experience of using it as a novice is often a daunting trial. That's the surprise. That's what you needed to know. And joke 4. Buying this as your first scope is like learning to drive in a monster truck. Sure, you can eventually move a mountain, but you'll probably take out a few mailboxes and shed a few tears getting to that point. Start with a sedan. For the best price on Amazon for the Orion SkyQuest XT8 Classic. Whether you've decided it's for you or you're now looking at alternatives, click the link in the description. I've also linked some of the essential upgrades and some better beginner scope options there. Make an informed choice. Don't just follow the crowd. Thanks for watching and keep looking up.